Okay, I'm starting with these new fellas too as well. I've been enjoying them, painting them all and everything. Hey guys, welcome back to another of my videos. Today I'm gonna be continuing the last part that I leave from the painting session that I had of the Curse City miniatures. For that, today I'm gonna be painting these fellas. These fellas, I'm sorry if you can see them through or everything, but I am gonna be showing you in the entirety of this video. These fellas are from the Curse City, both of them and everything. I have 10 of them. They're the zombies from the Curse City box set, and yeah, I'm gonna be painting them today in a more stylish way and more 80s style, like old style, to end up fast painting them all of the miniatures. For that, I'm not gonna be taking a lot of time with painting them. I'm just gonna be giving like stylish brushing and everything. That's why I'm gonna be showing you everything inside of this video. The content of the entire of this video is going to be parts of the paints I'm gonna be using on the miniatures, and also the dry brushing and everything that you need that I'm gonna be showing you in my secondary camera. The session is going to be starting in the workstation that I have, and yeah, I kind of think about making a stream of everything, but I say, why I stream? Because maybe people will don't see it, and I'm gonna not having any viewers. So I thought, yeah, next time it would be a better thing. Next time. So for the moment, gonna be starting by painting the models, and because of that, I'm getting more faster and trying to complete this box because I want to play this box and enjoy the entire of this game by myself and other friends, because here in Korea there are not many people that play Warhammer, so need to deal with what I have. In the end, guys, I hope that you enjoyed the last video of the show, the crossover of Van Helsing and Jels and Darrock in the Curse City, and a little bit of the lore that I shared. It was amazing, and yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. So guys, hope that this video of today is enjoyable, and well, don't forget, a little bit of advice. If you can, please share all of this video, because I need more viewers to see these videos, and also not like that as well, I need more like subscribers so I can improve the channel. In the future, I'm gonna be moving to another place so I can get better workstation and everything. I'm gonna be starting to work around that room that I'm gonna have and everything. For the moment, I'm gonna be dealing with this small room that I have so I can have more workplace so you guys can enjoy and everything like this and that. Guys, hope that you enjoyed this entire session of the painting that is going to be the zombies of the Curse City. I'm gonna be enjoying them. See you in a while, guys. Oh, and yes, it's me, you. See you there, guys. Let's go ahead and start talking. First of all, we're gonna have a little demonstration of the miniatures primed in black and doing a 360-degree turn around in a turntable to show you all the details of these awesome miniatures that are the zombies from the Curse City. Now, moving aside from this point, we are going to go ahead and show you the paints that we're gonna be using as first base onto the skin, and also some of the parts from some male and female zombies. That is going to be the next one. Here we can see that we are actually just showing all the game's color variations that I'm gonna be using the entire of this video. You can go ahead and stop or pause the video and see each one of the paints that you want to take a note before you're gonna start this Curse City. As always, I start by just hanging around and using my base primary paints, and this technique that I'm gonna be using, it's going to be dry brushing. Dry brushing is a very good way of starting your miniatures painting, but also for those that are saying that it's impossible nowadays. Many parts for dry brushing it's impossible when there are some like locations of the miniature that are impossible to reach with a brush, and also those kinds of corners that you're gonna be trying to make, it's a little bit harder to reach them. So there's another kind of technique with the dry brushing that is going to be by using a long bristle from a bristle, and you're gonna be using the same as a dry brushing style. By how making it, you're gonna be just tipping a little bit of paint over the bristle to the tip, then wipe it off over in a paper towel or even in a tissue. And after you have get enough of the excess of the paint, you're gonna be start by painting all over or making those highlights pop out from the areas that you cannot reach with a normal brush. Now, aside from that, we're now moving from the first to second layering of the base coat that is going to be for the skin. Now, many of you were actually guessing that how many coats you're gonna be needing to apply over the miniatures. Well, for that, it depends on how much you have thin enough your miniature paints. For those paints that have been thinned so much, remember, you need to have a consistency of a milk. You wanna get to reach that milk consistency for your paints before you're gonna be handling them. If you didn't even catch a milk consistency, you have a thick consistency of that paint, remember to add a little bit of more water or your thinner preference. Use Vallejo thinners, or if you have water, use a water. So we're gonna be applying over the mixing over the paint, and we're gonna be ended up with a good milk texture of the paint itself. Now, after you see that I applied the second coat, I'm gonna be starting by going straight to the purple that I used as mentioned before. I started by giving those parts that are gonna be the pants of some of the zombies, so it could be looking like, alright, these zombies didn't have enough money to buy clothes, so they needed to take all stuff from the trash and manage to cut them with their knives and whole style, or rip them with their mouths by losing some of their teeth. Now, in the over of this entire miniatures painting, I'm using another highlight color that is going to be calling out those recessed areas. For example, the areas that are gonna be the wound up, or even some pointy parts that have the miniatures itself. You can even say that there are many parts that these miniatures, the zombies, have a lot of details that you need to watch out before you paint them. Now, after doing that, enough of brushing and everything over the miniatures, always mention that I'm starting by using a dry brush style and finishing with a dry brush. I'm not gonna be using a way of brushing normally, but some of the parts that are, for example, mini parts, they're really hard to reach, so you're gonna be needing to reach with your little strokes of your long bristles from your brushes. Yes. And try to remember that always applying enough paint over those parts by making layers of paints over the same color. It's going to give you a more different vibrate color from the original. For example, as I'm gonna be mentioning, these kinds of zombies need to be looking like old style zombies, and they need to be calling out those parts. For example, the metallic part, they need to be oxide, like copper style with a little bit of rust and everything like that. You're gonna be ended up with that kind of finish up detail by just using a little bit of silver mixed with copper. While doing this, what you're gonna be ended up is a kind of silver style rust texture from the miniatures. It's like making a little bit of difference from the classic to an old new style of these days. That's going to be a new technique that you can apply, and yes, by just using your imagination, you can say and pretend that you're explaining that this miniature has some parts that are really rusted, and those metallic parts that are rusted are not enough to call out those details or call that the zombie is racing from an old ancient times in the history. Now that we are ready enough finishing with those little details of the skins and also the clothes, now we're gonna be starting by using these colors. As always, pause the video if you want and check them out, rewinding and everything. We're gonna be using this for making the callouts for the parts that are gonna be the wood and the ones that are coming out from the mouth, eyes, as some of the miniatures that are the zombies. By that, I'm just gonna be doing the same way of dry brushing, because with the black as a base, you're gonna be end up with a color, with a good way of telling that this kinds of miniature is from an old box that you have already painted, and you say, oh yes, these are from a classic box that I had, and I'm using here in the cool shading. They look classy. I like it. and you will actually be telling by the amount of details that you're gonna be coloring up by using dry brush, because you're gonna be doing by a concrete deep and dark color. Then layering up, you're gonna be raising up a little bit of the hint of the sharpness of the color, like the light color from darkness to go to lighter. You're gonna be raising up a little bit and giving it those colors. For that, it's going to be an intermediate color. You're gonna be colored over those parts. And also, the lastly and most important, the third part, yes, do not apply too much. You just wanna be a little pinch of that highlight when you're gonna be doing in those colors. For example, the highlight that you're gonna be ending at once is a highlight that you want to be brighter and sparkle, like a shining model that has cut off some of the parts that has been highlighted or touched by some kinds of knives, swords, or a little bit of chopping from those dents over the wood. And also, yes, you can be coloring out like that, but just don't forget that always when you apply your darkest color and you're going to do your layering, apply your washes. For that, always use a wooden style wash for coloring out those parts when you're going to do the overlaying over those parts. The overlaying is going to be a layering over layering, and again and again and again. By that, you're just gonna be using the paints that I mentioned before, and yes, you can try by using any other paints you have, from the darkest to the light. And always, do not forget, don't apply too much. Apply a little bit by bit and try to take your liking over the amount of paint that you're using. If you use too much paint over a miniature, the most important rule is that do not clog those details. If you clog those details over the miniature, when you're going to be showing them off in a, for example, in a match or in a game, the people were gonna be saying and asking where are the details of that miniature, and you're gonna be surprised about their miniature that they have calling out those kinds of color. So as again, do not forget that you can always, if you end up with a bad color, like a lot of overlaying, like layering of colors over another, you have like a thick and like too much color over the part, you can always end up by just try to clean it up by using a little bit of, yes, you can either use alcohol or either do not use ethanol, because remember, acetone. Do not use acetone because it will melt the plastic and you will eat it away. You can either use alcohol to clean off the excess of paint that you have done over the images. If you're trying to guess by using another kind of mixture, like for example a thinner could be good enough to take out some of the parts. And also do not forget, using like a compound or chemical compound that it's too hard. I'm sorry, this is so new for me in chemics and chemical style. If you use a chemical style compound that it's too hard and too strong for the plastic, you're gonna be end up with a bad miniature with all those details clogged up or melted away. So let's continue with the video, guys, and we'll talk to the next part. Now the last part that I'm gonna be showing you is the parts that are going to be the end up of this entire miniature. For that, these are going to be the last colors that I'm gonna be using, and yes, there are all the other colors that I didn't even show before in the video, and you can even watch it at the end. Yes, thank you for all those who actually made it to the end of this video, and I'm happy to say that you are really supportive by just watching the video, and yes, give it a little bit of time, and do not forget that give it a little of your support by sharing to other friends. I know that I cannot bring so much good content, but I'm trying my best to do it to you. And lastly, just telling you what I'm doing here. I'm actually applying the last part that is going to be the coloring outs on the part that are going to be the wooden part, this like for example the rock parts that are from the people when they deceased, people when they go to the cemetery, the rocky part, like the stone part that you're gonna be using for the deceased people, you're gonna be coloring out by making a little bit of highlight,
And if you do a lot of highlight, do not forget that even with a lot or less highlight, you can even show the difference by just the light of the sun. That's all that I'm gonna be applying on this entire video or clip that it's going to be called out as well. And yes, it's all by the parts that are going to be the example, the parts of the legs, the parts of the wounded parts, the clothes, the so-called wood parts of the miniatures that they have. Let me tell you, they are really looking awesome. There's some bars as well and everything like this and that, skulls and bells, ravens, crows, you know, the animals, rats eating the flesh of the undead. Well, they get infected as well. So sneaky, those ratties. So sneaky, so rats. The last part I call out, and everything is on these miniatures. And yes, I actually kinda lovely enjoy these parts, and they're really good in the end. Making this entire session of painting gave me a lot of effort and realization that I enjoy each of the miniatures because they teach us and the sum apart that, for example, the littlest and tiniest part that they have of these miniatures are really need to be catched by the eye. And do not forget that if you don't have a good eye, you will not call out those parts by just deliberately forgetting them. That's not the correct way of making these miniatures pop out in a match or even in a tabletop. So remember guys, always have patience when handling all your miniatures, and also do not forget. Now, shall we go ahead and go to the last part so you can enjoy this last part? Is going to be the painting session, so you can enjoy all of it. Now that you guys are to the last part, the ending of everything, I'm gonna be showing you each one of you the miniatures, how they end up, and they all look gorgeous and amazing. And I don't know why I put it all the way up. I'm sorry, right now I'm fixing them up. I just showing you guys all the miniatures, how they should look like, and everything like this and that. I'm even making an adjustment for the camera because it doesn't catch up for the lenses of the miniatures. And yes, they look all amazing. Each one of them, a total of 10 undead, and everything. I painted it in less than 4 hours. In less than 4 hours, guys. Like 2 hours and a half. Because with enough time, you can either find it and do it this fast. Yes, I did it in this fast time. And yes, 10 miniatures in 2 hours was, for many of you, too much time. But for me, it was really fast. Because making the dry brush style that I showed you as a technique, it's a good color of each one of the miniatures, so they can be finished up fast. Now, shall we go ahead and compare from the before and after? In the end, I shall telling you that these miniatures came out pretty well, and I enjoyed everything from them. And also, if you guys are having troubles painting your zombies, do not forget, painting them by your own style. Thank you for reaching to the end of this entire video, and I hope that you like and enjoy, and follow this entire series to the end by just subscribing, sharing, and giving a like. Goodbye, guys.